Okay, so today we're looking at this Marvo Scorpion G954. It's a USB, RGB, LED, black programmable gaming mouse, and as you can see what it looks like there. So that sounds pretty good. It's got a retail price of roughly 50 UK pounds, so it's going to be pretty good for that sort of price, because it's not what you'd really class as cheap. But we'll have a look, see what it includes. So some of the things it does include is it has got a Pixart 3325 optical sensor. The optical sensor is adjustable between 1000 and 10,000 dpi. It's got 6 programmable buttons on there. The speed is 100 IPS. Acceleration is 50 grams. Reporting rate is 125, 250, 500 and 1000 Hz. It's got advanced configuration. You can adjust the sensitivity, macros, lightning and profiles. It's got built-in memory. It's got RGB lighting, 16 million colours. It's got a USB 2 cable, which is roughly 1.8 meters long. So that's pretty good, but you will need to download the additional software to work a lot of the extra functions. But let's have a quick look at the box. As you can see, it says on there everything about it being RGB and so forth. Optical sensor. It's got 6+2 buttons and programmable. If you open the front, it shows you the mouse itself. You can't see much through the plastic, to be honest. It just looks black, but it does tell you a bit of information about all your buttons and the side buttons and so forth on there as well. And it's got their slogan, which is "Born for Gaming," all over it. On the side, not much. On the back, it gives you a bit more information on there. So it gives you the information about the RGB backlighting. You've got 2 special DPI and backlight buttons as well. And it's also got 10,000 DPI high performance optical gaming sensor. So that sounds pretty good. Let's open this up and see exactly what we've got. Okay, so in the box, this is what you've got. You've got the manual and the actual mouse itself. The manual does give you information about the software, but bear in mind, if you have problems installing Marvo software, we've come across this before, what you need to do is basically download the drivers or the setup program, and once you've downloaded it, is extract all the files. And once you've done that, you need to copy those files into another location of your PC without having all the subfolders, because a lot of the subfolders are that long. When you actually run the program, it comes up with an error. So what you have to do is basically copy the setup files into a clean folder with no pre-existing folders, and then run it from there, and it generally installs and works fine. And we've come across this on no end of Marvo products. So let's have a look at the mouse itself. So as you can see on here, you've got the Marvo logo, or the Scorpion logo, there on the front. You've got obviously your 2 standard buttons, as well as your wheel, which is a button as well. On the side, you've got 3 buttons. You've got a fire button and a back and forward button. Again, these are all programmable. This side, absolutely nothing, but if you can see, there is like an RGB effect going all the way around the edge of the sides. Then on the bottom, you have got your DPI setting, so you can press that to change the DPI. But you've also got a light button there, which will change the lighting effects on the mouse. But again, I'm pretty sure you can adjust a lot of this through the software, which you can download from their website. There you go, gives you a few ideas. But otherwise, the cable looks pretty good. It is a braided cable, so that's the entire length is braided, so that's pretty good. It is only USB 2, but again, you don't need much more for a mouse. And then you've got all your model numbers and stuff on the bottom. It's got 2 slide bars front and back at the bottom as well, so you shouldn't knock the DPI button and the light button on the bottom. And it feels pretty good. It does feel a little light though, in all honesty. It does seem to be sliding on its own, as you can see, through the cable torch. It's not the best, as in keeping itself. Obviously, if you've got your hand on it, it's not too bad, but as soon as you let go, it has a life of its own. And for those of you who'd like to know how heavy the actual mouse is, it is around about 94 grams, which it differs per person. Some people like 70, some people like 130. Once you've downloaded the software from their website, it's very easy to use. You just install, obviously, the exe file, and then you plug in your mouse and then run the program, and you'll get this screen here. It's quite small, actually. I've had to zoom in here so you can actually see it. Even this is in HD, and I've had to increase the size by about 2.5 times. If you've got a 4K monitor, the user interface is that small, it's very hard to even figure out what any of the writing says. But the basics is, it shows you all the buttons on the mouse, and on the left you've got basically a list of what they all do. And if you want to change, let's just say button number 7 to do something else, you can click on number 7 and change it. But on this instance, for some reason, it won't actually let you change 7 and 8, because 7 and 8 are actually the buttons what are underneath for the DPI and the colouring, which obviously most mice have those effects on the top here, so you can easily change them when needed. But if you wanted to change button number 6, you can just click on where it says number 6. It's currently set up as the back button, and then it gives you lots of different options on there to change it to. So you can make it left, right, DPI button, multimedia, macro key, a DPI lock, and you can even disable the button totally if you wanted. Now, to make a macro, it's fairly simple. You just click where it says macro editor, and in there you just click new macro, name it, we'll just call it new, and press OK. So all you do is press start macro or start record, then you type the keys on the keyboard at the timings you actually want it. So obviously you leave gaps and so forth between each key, depending on how long you want it to run for. And once that's done and you're happy with the macro you've created, you press stop record, and that is basically it. Then you can basically close it, and then you can go to your key you want to bind the macro to, and then you click on macro. It asks which macro you want, press OK, and bang, that key is now your macro. You can also change things like your polling rate on the right hand side, as well as things like how sensitive it is and the scrolling speed. And you've even got lighting on there as well, so you can change your effect that you want on there, so it gives you different effects, and it gives you a rough idea on the actual screen what that effect is going to look like, so you can actually choose between the colours you actually want and so on.